started today. Today we have a cybersecurity tech talk for you in regards to emerging email threats coming into your inboxes and getting past your spam filter. So we're going to go over what that means for you and how you can protect your business from emerging email threats and teach your employees how to identify those. So I'll go ahead and pass it over to Henry and get us started.
Very good. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I really appreciate the invite, and we appreciate y'all hopping on and joining us for a moment here. There are a lot of things that we talk about that are important for cybersecurity, but I think constant evolving, growing trend that we see is that just a need for realization of the constant change. And that there's never a fixed thing that once we get there, we're secure. So today we're going to talk about a thing or two that are relatively new in the marketplace, in attacks that the hackers are using that we're seeing realistically in the last month or two are scooting right past spam filters, virus filters, and are really, really important for us to be aware of today in 2024. So without further ado, let's dig in, and we'll get started. Let me make sure I'm sharing my screen. It looks like I am, so I'm going to get rolling. Look, across all the things that we're going to talk about today, there's a lot of recommendations, and we'll kind of set the stage here that what I'm going to show you again is it's important to understand that it's not the only protection that we're going to recommend. There are tons of frameworks or really good sets of guidelines and recommendations from a lot of different organizations like CISA or HIPAA or National Institute of Standards and Technologies. Your cybersecurity insurance company probably has a set of guidelines or a checklist, and we can look at that as a framework or a plan for things to secure. What Turnkey Solutions sees a lot is that there are basically 18 or so components that are common across most of those frameworks. They start with risk assessments, going on to having a good inventory of your systems, email protection, and we won't read through all of them, but there's a bunch of things. You can see antiviruses in there, a good firewall, multi-factor, a bunch of different things that are really important that when we layer them together, they do a really good job of stopping the bad guys from getting in. Any one specific protection is important in its place in your overall security stance, but it's not the only thing. So if you want to know, will this antivirus product stop the hackers? No, not completely. Will this firewall stop the hackers? No, not completely. But do we need it? Yes. And it's because it plays an important part in protecting that part of your operating system or that part of your business. And when we put them all together, kind of visually, what we show here is that they do a really good job of kind of raising that fence, and modularly together, they provide security. Now, unfortunately, there's no perfect protection. And even together with all of the things that we can recommend, all of the tools that are best practices, there's still going to be, in most environments, some gap somewhere, some environment, some hole, some chink in your armor that that the bad guys can get past, or that they've evolved or created or coded some new way to get past. So we got to look for those constantly, but it starts with having that overall set of protections. So looking at the one or two protections that we really want to dig in today about email threat protection and cybersecurity awareness training, and how they play together with a specific threat or two that Turnkey Solutions has seen really blow up in the last few months. And we've just had some experience with protecting our clients and ourselves against. We thought it was really important to bring it to you and hopefully get you the benefit of our experience. The first thing is that first tool, or that one tool, email threat protection. Now, look, email threat protection back in the day used to be spam filtering. And that used to be the only kind of thing that we would do at that layer of your email flow. But nowadays it has to go beyond that. We've got to look at like link filtering or link inspection. How do we look inside the emails and not only just see if they're probably spam, but also if the content in them is good, but maybe some of the attachments are bad. So we need to inspect those emails way more carefully than we used to in the past. Also, the other thing that we've got to stress here is that cybersecurity awareness training and testing for your team is so important, because none of those tools, your firewall, your antivirus, your multi-factor, your email threat protection, none of those are perfect, and they will not be perfect. And tomorrow, the hackers will find a way past whatever firewall you've got, or a way past whatever whatever highly patched up operating system you're running on your workstations. They're going to find holes. So your security awareness training is so important, because your staff is the front line, and 100% from the CEO down to the janitor need to be trained and tested regularly to learn the signs and avoid those threats. Let me give you kind of a quick example and a visualization of how email threat protection works in today's market. Now, this is courtesy of Zix. They're one of our preferred partners for email threat protection, but a lot of different companies have similar products, and most of them work similarly. So I'll just kind of give you an example from their flyers and their graphics, because it was easier to use their graphics and come up with my own. So let me just kind of visualize it for you. First off, either a good person, like one of your customers or your family members, send an email, or the bad guys. So a malicious actor, it's called in this example. So they get together an email and they send it. And where does it go? If you've got a threat protection system environment, or an email protection, what it goes to, again, this is a visualization from Zix's environment, but most of them play similarly. They in the Zix environment, it goes first to this kind of system or set of servers that run some programs that do what they call multi-layer filtering. They look for a bunch of different things kind of in wave one. They have teams of people that look and spot check emails. They have the old school filters that look for things like, word sequences that look like spam, or they look for viruses attached to your emails. So a bunch of different things that they're doing, and it's not just one thing that they're looking for, but they start with an inspection of that email. If they see that there's a problem, and in Zix's market, what they see is that they are 99.9% effective at splitting out the good from the bad. And you'll notice there's a 0.1%. So it's not perfect. It's important to understand that. But if they detect a problem, they throw it away. They deliver it either to, depending on how you have it set up, to a trash can, or to a vault or an archive. They may not deliver it to you at all, depending on how bad it was, or if it's just kind of probably spam, but no really viruses or bad links in it. They might send it to an archive that you can look at your convenience if you feel like you might be missing an email somewhere. Once those emails go through, their filters in the Zix environment, what happens then is they also layer in a link inspection, where they look at, okay, the content of the email itself is not bad, the attachments are okay, but at least as good as we can see, and we'll talk about that in a second. But now we're going to look at the links in it, and any links, if it's a link to your the sender's Facebook page, or a link to their email, or a link to a web page they want to go to, they do some inspection and clean it, and then they send it, finally, last step, they send it to your email server, be it Office 365 or an in-house Exchange server or Gmail or wherever you've got your company email. So they do a ton of stuff before they finally send that email over to you, and then from there you download it and read it. So all that in context, what I want to talk about is two things that we're seeing that scoot right past that, and how it's working and what you need to tell your employees and your team and your coworkers about. The first is the idea of an embedded or an attached or kind of a second layer malicious link. So let me give you a quick little scenario. Let's say that you get an email, and the email itself, the content of that email has a link in it that if you followed that link, you would give the bad guys access to your Office 365, or you might download a virus or a backdoor to your computer. In that primary email, the email that you see in your inbox, if there is content there that link filter and all those content analysis engines that we showed in that previous picture, they're able to inspect that, and they're able to read that top email, that email that you're looking at when you first see it in your inbox. They're able to read in the content there, and almost all of the good content filters, per the Zix example, they're 99.9% effective, and their marketing material they're 99.9% effective at removing those links or attachments. So the good email protection services will remove that link, rewrite it, or block the email, or send it to the trash or something like that. So that's what you want to happen, right? What we're seeing, however, is that let's look at a slightly different scenario. The email that you get has an attached document, and that document or that attached email, and it's not embedded like in line, but it's actually attached, and I'll show you a picture of it in a second. But it's an attachment inside the email, like a PDF or a zip file or another email. And that attachment has so you've got your email, the main email that you're looking at, that's the one that the spam filter is reading, and the email protection system is inspecting to make sure that it's okay. It looks at attachments as good as it can, and most of them aren't looking more than that first layer. So it's really important to understand that. But that email, that primary email, has an attached document or an email that, and that document has a link to a website that gives the hacker the access, or a link that gives the bad guy a backdoor into your computer, or the virus. So what we're seeing more often than not is that most of the email protection services on the market are not stripping out content beyond that first layer. So even the good email protection services are completely missing that second or embedded attachment, and they're delivering it to your inbox. And then your files get encrypted, or whatever it is that the payload or what the bad guy was aiming to deliver. So kind of visually, I just wanted to show a picture of what it would look like in your Outlook. Let's say you're looking at your inbox and you see an email, and it's got something that's kind of motivating you to click on it, and it looks interesting, like I need to go look at it. And what you can always kind of see in this scenario is it might have an attachment right there. So we click on that email, and the email's pretty simple, or there's the heart of it is not in that email, it's actually inside the attachment. So what they're encouraging you to do is go look at the attachment. So you go double click the attachment, and the attachment has a link. Now, again, in this example, the email protection service, or Zix or Bracket or Proofpoint or whatever email email protection platform you're using, more often than not, they're not inspecting that embedded or second layer links. Okay. So you get this link, and it looks good. It might be a picture, or might be text or something like that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, they're trying to send me an important document. I'm going to click on it. And you click on it, and this is kind of the next thing that I want to point out is what you're redirected to or you're sent to is more often than not what you think you were clicking on. So in this example, had you hovered over, like put your mouse over and just kind of don't click, but hover over it, what it would show is the actual destination of that link. So I hover over this and it looks like it's going to sharepoint.com, which, you know, that's like a Microsoft website. That's probably cool. It looks good. Like visually, it's easy to look at that and say, oh, that looks good. It looks like it's a, you know, it's my contract renewal or whatever. So I'm going to download that. But if you hover over the link, you'll see that it's going somewhere else. Like I hover over this one and it says, oh, this goes to badsite.com. You should have checked .ps1, which hopefully if you ever see that, you'll definitely not check it. Don't click that. But you know, the heart of it there is the link goes somewhere different than what it shows it's going to go to. So it's really important to understand that even if you've got a good email protection system, it's not able to to check into like that second or third layer of things. Some key takeaways from this one to maybe share with your team is be highly suspicious of attached emails in their content. So an email that you get that has an attached email, be suspicious of those. Be highly suspicious of compressed or zipped files. Like if you get an attachment that's a zip, most of the email protection systems can't read inside of zips. It's for the same reason. It's basically a second layer email. Be highly suspicious of links inside of files. If you get a PDF and it's in your primary email and you're really sure about it, or weren't expecting it. Sorry. If you weren't expecting it, and the PDF itself has a link, or the Word document has a link, or a spreadsheet has a link, those links often were not possible to be inspected by the spam filter because they were attached inside of like a second or third layer. Always hover over links and carefully inspect them. You can do this by just putting your mouse over it. Don't click, just hover over it and look. And links that are to a different site than what they were describing, than what they look like, that's a problem. Another thing to look for is links that contain domain names for the domain name, and that's tricky to explain, but here's an example. If you look at this link right here, it says this thing goes to goodsite.com, like let's say outlook.com or sharefile.com or sharepoint.com or microsoft.com or whatever it is your website is, and you think, oh, okay, well, that's good, that's where I'm going. No, what you're actually going to is whatever's at the farthest right kind of top level domain, they call it, what the farthest right .com, .la, .net, .org, whatever it is. So we would actually be going to, if we clicked on this link, we would actually be going to a website or a file that's at this site, not the goodsite.com. A little tricky to look for, but just kind of read the whole thing. And if it looks good on one side of the link, but not good all the way at the other, at the right hand side, the one at the right hand side towards the end of it is actually where you're going. So to give another example, it'd be really simple for me to spin up microsoft.turnkeysol.com. I could do that without ever calling Microsoft or getting their blessing. And you might think you're going to a Microsoft site, but you're really going to microsoft.turnkeysol.com. So you're going to my site. So, all right. Look, second thing, and we're almost done here, is we got to look at the whole idea of artificial intelligence and spam filtering, and the idea of like the content that we're getting in those emails, not just, is our spam filter or email protection system able to protect us from it, but because we know they can't protect us from everything, but the reality is it's going to get harder and harder for your systems to protect you from these things, because of a really important evolution here called artificial intelligence, or this generative AI or large language model, whatever you want to call it, ChatGPT, Bard, all those platforms are generating content, not only for the good guys, but for the bad guys. So we got to keep this in mind. Really good article from just a little bit ago from Tech Radar, where they kind of explained it, and they put it in this term of an artificial intelligence arms race taking place in your inbox. And it's it's a great example or kind of a visualization for you to have. And I won't read the whole thing to you. Really good article. I can send it to you if you want, but look, the summary there is pretty good. On the one of the later paragraphs, hey, Chat GPT, let's make some spam. Because you can do that. You can use these AIs to create a perfectly crafted email that somebody might open. And you can do that with programming. You don't have to even log in personally to Chat GPT and ask it that question. You're actually able to use the brains of AI and things like ChatGPT in a programming level, and crank in requests way quicker. So we're able to kind of automate our requests to the AIs. And the bad guys are able to do that as well. A couple key takeaways from this article are that, for starters, spam is up. Like, it's only getting worse. In their survey, they saw that just the raw content that of email that was classified as spam was up 25% from 2022 to 2023. We don't have full numbers for 2024 yet. Obviously, we're in the middle of it, but so there's more of it coming at us, and it's better. The text quality is better than ever, thanks to these language model AIs like ChatGPT and Bard and whatnot. So we're not getting the massive typos. We're not getting the grammatical errors. Reading the content of the email it looks like it's better every day. Also, I'll point out, kind of a side note, is that the AIs are able to impersonate you really, really well. So, or impersonate somebody that you trust really well. So we're seeing emails that are written in your tone, or written in the sender's, the person we would think is sending the email. It's written kind of in their tone because the AI has had time to kind of digest. In a lot of these examples, a lot of the scenarios, it's had time to digest a lot of their emails and understand how they talk, what words they use and what words they don't. So watch for that. And the links often send you, and I'll talk about this next threat really quick. The links often send you to a real or a fake Office 365 page where they can steal your credentials. So it might look like they're sending you to a SharePoint site or a OneDrive site where you can download their files, and they just need you to log into Microsoft so they can make sure that you're the right person. Or it might say, the simple example is, hey, here's a link to reset your Office 365 password, and the link looks like it's really going to Office 365, and when you click it, it looks exactly like your Office 365 login, and it looks perfect. This is called an adversary in the middle attack, or they used to call it man in the middle. But how it works, let me kind of visualize this for you. We got to really kind of be aware of this, and this is the last thing that we're going to talk about today. But short version here is, bad guy gets on his red laptop. For some reason, he's using a red one. He crafts an email and he sends it to you, and it's got a link. And somehow or other, that link is and that email really gets you motivated to click it. It might be a link to your payroll, or something that is Office 365 integrated, like your CRM or your email or a file share, but it looks legitimate, and you click it, and they have crafted a perfectly replicated copy of that Office 365 login page, and they're hosting it on their servers. And you click the link, and follow this. This is tricky. It's pretty devious. You click the link, you go to their page, not the real one, but their page looks just like your page or the real page. And it doesn't have to be Office 365. We've seen examples of this basic strategy exploiting a bunch of different websites. So you click the link, and it looks really good. Where you go is not doing anything bad, but you're just prompted to log in. But it's actually a fake site. So keep in mind, when you type in your username and password, that username and password goes to the bad guys, and it might not even go to like a human. It's more often than not just going to a like a bot or a program, or their servers. Instantly, they actually send your username, password, your multi-factor authentication key, all of that stuff. They instantly send that, and they log in to your actual Office 365. So on the back end, on their side, they're actually logging into Office 365. You think you're logging in there, but what you're doing is you're really sending them your username and password and your MFA key. Or if you're using a code, they're in the background actually logging in. If you have MFA turned on your Office 365 such that it pops on your cell phone, within a second, you'll actually get that pop up, and you'll say, well, yeah, I was trying to log in, and you'll click the button to say, yes, let me in. At that point, they're all the way in. They are fully exploiting your Office 365 or your share file or your CRM or Salesforce or whatever it is. So that's it. That's the huge thing. The key takeaway there is that I would recommend you really be suspicious of logins that you weren't expecting, or that you don't really feel like you need. And if you need to log into Office 365, just don't follow the link in the email. Just go log in and do whatever you need, if at all possible. But really slow down, inspect those links. That same trick would work here as well. So really slow down and inspect those links by hovering over it and looking at it. All right. Where can you get more information about this? We put a ton of stuff about this and similar things up on our website, turnkeysol.com/resources. There are webinars from previous things and subjects. There's white papers that we've got. There's infographics. One of the key things I'd like to point out is that there's our newsletter. We've got some really good article and content in there. Just in the May issue of our newsletter, there's an important article about some other nuances of email security, and you are more than welcome to share those with your employees, your coworkers. Get that information out there, and let's make sure that you don't fall prey to these things. So anything we can do, we're trying to do to get you educated and get your team up to speed on. So summarize real quick, get highly involved in your cybersecurity awareness training program. Please, 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 please. There's really no tool, like we said at the beginning, that can stop this stuff perfectly. The more trained you and your team and 100% of your company is, the better chance we got to stay one step ahead of the bad guys. Second is verify, check with us if we're your IT company. If we're not, then check with whoever's doing that for you and make sure that they have the best possible email threat protection service. Ask them, is it using AI in the back end to try to stay one step ahead of the AIs? How many layers deep in an email will it scan? What other things can it do? So check that and learn a little bit, familiarize yourself with what that protection is that you've got in place. And specifically, watch out for second layer links or attached or zip files. And just know that in today's world, most of the email protection systems don't scan all the way to the, into the attachments of the attachments of the attachments of the attachments. There's a point where they can't scan everything possible. And most of them are only scanning that top layer email. And watch out for any link that asks you to log in to anything, specifically like your banking, Office 365, those sort of things. So, all right, what to do next? Ask us if you got questions, if you've got things that you want to learn more about, if you've got more, if I didn't answer something or explain it really well here, or if you've got questions about more stuff, please let us know. ask@tcast.la or 225-751-4444. And if you want to see what our upcoming events are, we've got them posted at turnkeysol.com/events. We're going to have some more webinars coming up just in the next few weeks on similar subjects. So if you go there, you can get the calendar link to it, and go ahead and add those to your calendar and get them booked. And when we get this converted to a recording, you'll be able to download it over at the resources side. So that's it. That's all we've got for today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to learn a little bit and get savvier. Hopefully this was helpful. If there's other stuff that you'd like us to do content like this for you, please let us know. And we really appreciate your partnership and allowing us to be a part of your team. We are here to serve you, and we find it honorable and exciting, and it's a great thing to be a part of. So we hope that you have a great day, and let us know how it can be of service to you. And again, for all of us here at Turnkey Solutions, I'm Henry Overton, and I appreciate you taking time with us today and helping us secure your technology, empower your business, and just be a part of your team. Have a great day.